I wanted to expose the truth on an article that was posted about a 26-year-old kid that says he's making $38,500 a month and he's only working 20 minutes a day. I mean, I've been in business a long time. I had to look into this. And I got to say, wait a minute here. Is there anything really that easy? And, you know, that BS meter just kind of comes up. So let's dig in. Chris, can you pull up that article and can we dig in and see exactly what they're saying? I want to give my thoughts, my take, and I want to see, is this BS or is this real? And I don't know this person. So I'm just kind of going off of what Tom Olson here had reported on their website. So let's dig in.
And it's funny because this got like almost all of these articles is like a rewrite of a rewrite of a rewrite of something that came from CNBC at some point.
Yeah.
But if we look at this, you know, the headline has basically stayed the same. You can find the CNBC version or any of the different areas where this has popped up. Just copy and paste or type out the first part of that headline. You'll see all the different people who have written this story. You get a little bit of information from each place. But there's two things, Scott, that really stood out to me about this. Not his age, but the time and the money.
Yeah.
20 minutes a day for $38,500 a month. And then obviously the phrase passive income, because you know that is a trigger word for me.
Yeah.
I know 20 minutes a day is technically passive if we believe that number, but the story goes, and I have no reason to doubt that he's hitting those revenue numbers. We don't know what his Etsy
we don't know
is, any of those kinds of things.
Yeah, we don't know.
Francisco Rivera graduated. He didn't know what he was doing. He worked like at the Apple store, and then he was an online tutor, and he decided to launch print-on-demand candles on Etsy in February 2023. And the more he worked, it said originally he was working, you know, like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, and he only made $100 to $500 a month. And then like 4 or 5 months later, his sales took off, and now he's only working 20 minutes a day, and he's making $38,500 a month. Now, I did a little bit of digging, right? That's going to be his top line revenue. And again, like I said, all of the different iterations of this story have one or another piece of this. He said he's making about 30 to 35% profit on average. So, okay, let's just call it $10,000 a month on the low end.
Sure.
That's not bad for 20 minutes a day.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on seeing something like this? If those are the numbers that we're talking about, right? $10,000 in profit, 20 minutes a day. Is this something that is, one, sustainable for the long term? Two, was it caused by working 20 minutes a day is the other one. And then three, is this something that's repeatable for other people?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I can't really say for sure because I don't know this person and I don't know the entire backstory, but I have been in business for over 20 years now. And I have made, you know, more than $38,500 per month. And I don't care what business you're in. If you're generating that much revenue, you're going to be working more than 20 minutes a day. And he might have had a stretch of, it was like 1 week where he was only working 20 minutes. So he's like, 20 minutes a day, you know. But personally, if you have that many orders, and we're talking candles now, right? So if we did the math on the candles, how many of these candles are you selling per day? You can't tell me that people are having problems with their candles. Now, maybe he was smart enough to hire someone to do all of the support. Well, if that's the case, he's paying someone for that. So that $38,500 comes down even further, right? Because now you're paying someone full time to handle support. I guess the issue that I have with any of these is it's not realistic, right? And when people see this, it's like, oh my gosh, I would love to only work 20 minutes a day and sell candles. Of course, who wouldn't? But in reality, I can almost guarantee that there's probably 50% truth to this. And I know I'm kind of calling BS on it. Sorry, but I'm just saying I've been in business a long time, and you're selling a candle that the margins are really low. And from there, you have to sell a lot of candles, and you're going to have people complaining about something, right, within that process, or they're wondering where it is. Now, we don't even know if there's personalization on these. We don't know any of that stuff. If there's personalization, that requires another step in this, right? So all of that. So did he have a month where he did 38,500 in fourth quarter? Maybe. And maybe now that's all of a sudden you're doing that every single month. So I would want to see more. I would want to see the store. I would want to see sales. I would want to see all of that. So why didn't they put like screenshots? Why didn't they put more proof in here to show that this is actually the case? So my thing is, if you're watching this, my reason in wanting to do this and to cover this is to say, be careful of what you believe when you see someone putting up a mug and saying you can make $15,000 a month selling these, and it's going to take you 20 minutes a day. I mean, you have to put your common sense hat on and be like, that's BS. There's got to be more to the story. And I think if we unpacked it, we'd probably find that. So I just think it's a good headline. People like passive income. They like 20 minutes a day, the 4-hour work week, right? Tim Ferriss. Do we really think that there's such a thing as a 4-hour work week? Probably not, but it sounds really, really good. Where are you going, Chris?
So one of the things that cracks me up is the 4-hour work week, the title of the book. Do you know where that actually comes from in the book? Because he's not saying he only does 4 hours worth of stuff. He's saying it's 4 hours worth of stuff that doesn't excite him, that doesn't make him really happy. That's not the like passion side of the business. It's 4 hours of work, the stuff he doesn't like to do. Right. And it's all about how to get that stuff off of your plate. Is it possible to build a $500,000 a year business? Because Scott, that's what we're talking about. Top line here, give or take, is $500,000, right? 468,000, something like that, to get to that number that they're talking about on a monthly basis, right? It's not impossible to get there, but it is impossible to get there in 4 months working 20 minutes a day and have it be sustainable. And that is the thing that I want people to really pay attention to. Can you catch a trend at the right time and hit those numbers if you're doing trend chasing? Yes. Is that something that is sustainable if you're only working 20 minutes a day and never launching new designs? Because that's the other thing he said in here, Scott, is the only time he spends on the business at all is answering a few customer service inquiries. Well, that means he's just letting Printify send out all of the candles. He's not doing any customization. If he has a design that goes down, that dips in sales, that he's not launching any new designs, right? And I don't want people to take this as an attack on Francisco, because it's not. It's an attack on the idea that even if the only active working time that he has is 20 minutes because he's doing that, if he really likes design, he might not be counting that as working. Or, and Scott, I know you fall victim to this, he's sitting in the hot tub, just hanging out at night, and he's thinking about business, right? That's
me, by the way. That's not
right.
That's not Francisco.
It might not feel like work because it's not sitting in front of the computer. But mental work, when you are an entrepreneur, is a huge portion of the business. And it's very easy for that to consume every waking minute of your life before you sit down. And this is something Tim Ferriss actually talks about now a lot, where he says, I'll walk around for 3 days thinking about something before I sit down, and then it only takes me 20 minutes to do, or it takes me 2 hours to do. But it took me 3 days of thought process to figure out the right way to do it instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Yeah. And it's not saying that you can't build a business like this. You absolutely can. But if you're only doing customer service and you're just writing this, it's going to slowly start to go away. If you're relying just on one product, it's going to slowly start to go away. So what I think we're both really advocating for here, Scott, is not that we should shout down with Francisco. Heck no. Congrats, Francisco. If these numbers are anywhere close to accurate for what you're doing now, the concern that I would have, and what I would say to him if he was in the room with us right now, if you guys know him, give him a shout out, invite him on. We'd love to have a talk with him. Would be, what are you going to do when this starts to erode? What are you doing to plan for the long term? Because everything that we're seeing, everything that they're talking about in this article, it's cool. It's nice. It's nice to have that revenue coming in. But one of those candles goes away. Now we're down to $20,000 or whatever it is. And so if we're not planning for the long term, we're not doing that active work, that can start to disappear very, very quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I just want to, again, kind of highlight that we're not saying that, it's not possible to create a business that you can work a few hours a day. The key word there is a few hours a day. If you're going to build any sustainable business, you're going to have to be involved. And like you said, Chris, work doesn't mean necessarily you're physically typing or you're physically doing like thought, thinking, brainstorming, strategy. Like that's all work. It requires bandwidth. So I just wanted to pull this up because I saw it all over the place. And I'm like, you know what? People need to know the truth from someone that's built several businesses. And I've never, ever had a business where you could generate that kind of money and only work 20 minutes a day. You're still working because 20 minutes a day doesn't get you much. Like, what are you doing in that 20 minutes? I mean, think about this. You go on, you answer a few support emails, and you're done for the day. Nothing else you got to do. There's so many other things that you would have to do. And like you said, Chris, if you don't, your business is going to die. Right? You got to do something. You got to market it. You got to keep up on things. You're going to have competition coming in trying to sell those candles against you.
Now, Scott, the alternative to this, do you have to hustle your face off? Do
No.
you have to be working 23/7?
No.
So is there a balance that
Yes.
you can find here? And the answer, yeah. Right. And that's what everybody's looking for. And if he continues to sell $400, almost $500,000 a year in candles forever and only has to work 20 minutes a day, awesome. But the truth is he's thinking about it more. And if he's not actively thinking about the business, he's probably worried about the things that we were just thinking about, which is working on the business, right? Oh my God, if my top seller goes away, my entire business goes away. Maybe I should build a customer list. Maybe I should branch out beyond just candles and put my really awesome sayings on pillows or whatever, right? Start to branch that out a little bit. Maybe he's designing new things and just not counting that as work. But the truth is it's not 23/7 and it's not 20 minutes. It's somewhere in between. And what you should be looking for here is focusing on the things that matter, right? Are you in a niche? If so, do you have your products up? If so, what else can you launch and sell to those people? And then come back once a week or so and take a look at the ads data. Your Etsy business doesn't have to consume your life. Although, Scott, I think you would probably agree with this in the fourth quarter for most people. It will take up much more time than you wish that it did because of all of the orders that are coming. But the rest of the year, it doesn't have to. You're going to be working more than 20 minutes and you're going to be working less than 23 hours if we're thinking about this from a realistic and long-term standpoint.